This free step-by-step video comes to you directly from Haynes, creators of the world's best repair manuals. Fix your car or truck the right way with our accurate and reliable information at your side. You can complete more than 200 jobs on this vehicle when you purchase the complete online manual at Haynes.com.
Drive axle replacement. Press the pedal down and release the parking brake. An audible click will be heard when the pedal is fully released. Chock the rear wheels to prevent the vehicle from rolling. Place a floor jack under the reinforced area along the front section of the unibody. Raise the front of the vehicle, then support it with a jack stand placed under the rocker panel seam. Repeat this for the opposite side. Loosen the rear wheel lug nuts. Place a floor jack under the center rear differential and raise the vehicle. Support the vehicle with jack stands placed at the notched reinforced area of the rocker panel seam on each side. Remove the rear wheel lug nuts and remove the wheels. Spray some penetrating oil on the clamp nuts and allow it to soak in, then loosen the exhaust pipe clamp nuts. Spray the rear exhaust pipe connector bolts with penetrating oil. Loosen and remove the connector bolts and springs at the left side of the exhaust pipe. Loosen the left side exhaust support bracket bolt, allowing the section of the pipe to hang by the bracket hook. Loosen and remove the exhaust muffler hanger fasteners, then carefully remove the left side muffler. It may be necessary to have an assistant help lower the muffler. Remove the right side exhaust support bracket bolt, allowing the section of the pipe to hang by the bracket hook. Loosen the right side muffler hanger fasteners. With the help of an assistant, remove the right side muffler hanger fasteners, then lower the entire rear exhaust pipe and muffler assembly. It may take wiggling and some effort to disconnect the rear section from the front. Using a socket and long breaker bar, break loose the drive axle hub nut, then loosen and remove the nut. Make a match mark across the drive shaft and the differential flange. Remove the drive shaft connecting bolts and washers. Disconnect the rear drive shaft flange. A plastic mallet can be used to dislodge the flange. Tie up the drive shaft to the exhaust bracket supports with a strong rope. Pry the inner drive axle CV joint out of the rear differential housing using a pry bar positioned between the differential and the CV joint housing. Place a suitable jack under the rear differential and secure the rear differential to the jack using a rope or tie down. Remove the rear differential front vertical mounting bolts, dampers, and washers. Remove the rear differential rear horizontal mounting bolts since a long breaker bar and socket may not fit. A combination of two wrenches pieced together can be used to break the bolts loose. This technique must be done carefully in order to prevent the wrenches from slipping and causing personal injury. Wear sturdy protective gloves. Continue loosening the rear differential horizontal bolts while pushing the housing forward until the bolts are free from the differential. Slowly lower the rear differential downward from the vehicle about 6 inches while pushing the differential towards the front of the car. Adjust the placement of the drive shaft as necessary. Remove the insulators from the top of the rear differential. If the drive axle engages again with the differential, pry it out. With the help of an assistant, adjust the position of the rear differential while the other person pulls the drive axle out of the differential. Use a length of wire or rope to secure the inner end of the drive axle while you remove the outer from the hub. This will avoid placing unnecessary strain on the outer CV joint. Spray some penetrating oil into the outer CV joint spline shaft, then thread the old drive axle nut into the end of the drive axle several turns. Use a hammer to drive the outer end of the CV joint into the hub, Then remove the nut and use a punch and hammer to drive the CV joint completely free of the hub. Remove the wire securing the inner end of the drive axle and remove the drive axle completely from the vehicle. Pry the old spring clip from the end of the drive axle using a small blade screwdriver or reverse snap ring pliers. Clean the end of the drive axle. Install a new spring clip using reverse snap ring pliers or a small screwdriver. Apply a light coat of multi-purpose grease to the outer CV joint splines, then reinsert the outer joint splines fully into the rear hub. Support the inner end of the axle with the wire. Install the old drive axle hub nut to draw the joint fully into the hub, then remove the old nut. Lubricate the differential axle seal and the end of the drive axle with multi-purpose grease. Position the spring clip with the opening facing down. This will ease insertion into the drive axle and prevent damage of the clip. With the help of an assistant to adjust the position of the differential, push the splined end of the inner CV joint into the differential side gear and make sure the spring clip locks in its groove. Raise the rear differential back up into the position near its mounting points. Check that the inner spring clip has engaged by tugging outward on the inboard CV joint housing. It should be locked into the differential. Make sure to place the upper damper insulators on top of the differential. Raise the differential, aligning the rearmost bolt holes first. Start threading the rear horizontal mounting bolts, tightening them until the front vertical bolt holes line up. Once aligned, install new vertical bolts and tighten them until they're snug. Remove the jack from under the rear differential. Tighten the rear horizontal mounting bolts securely to the approximate torque setting. Tighten the front vertical bolts to the specified torque setting. Untie the drive shaft. Align the match mark between the drive shaft and the differential flange, then install new mounting bolts and washers with the washers in the correct locations. Working in an alternating pattern, tighten the drive shaft to differential flange mounting bolts until they're snug. Tighten the drive shaft to differential flange bolts to the specified torque setting. With the help of your assistants, install the rear exhaust pipe and right side muffler assembly to the vehicle, joining with the front coupling first. Hook the exhaust hanger to the bracket, then install the bolt and tighten the hanger bolt securely. Install the muffler hanger bolts and tighten those bolts securely. Tighten the exhaust pipe clamp nuts securely. Install the left side muffler assembly, starting with inserting the pipe flange onto the studs, then install a hanger bolt to hold the assembly in place. Install the remaining left muffler hanger bolt and tighten the bolts securely. Hook the left side exhaust hanger and install the bolt. Tighten the exhaust bolt securely. Install the left side springs and flange nuts to the exhaust connection. Tighten the left side flange nuts securely. Install the new drive axle hub nut to seat the axle joint into the hub. Tighten the drive axle hub nut to the specified torque setting. Install the rear wheels and lug nuts by hand, then tighten them securely. Place the floor jack under the rear differential, raise the vehicle, and remove the jack stands, then lower the rear of the vehicle to the ground. Tighten lug nuts to the specified torque setting.